Welcome to my warehouse. This is where I work every single day. We're here in Huntington Beach, California, and this is a vintage warehouse complex that I found because it has a ton of character and there's not too many places like this in Huntington. Saturday morning, and we're just hanging out. We are filming a new digital series to get in here, right? Why did I choose things? How did I choose things? How do we come up with all of these great ideas? Woo! Understanding how a family uses a space is so important to the design. Everybody's different and everybody uses their homes differently, they use their spaces differently, so if it works for you and it works for your family, that's good design. Every house has those spaces that need a little bit of extra love. The cool thing is, in order to make these spaces feel really finished, you don't have to spend a lot of money. There are 1,000 different ways you can update your staircase for next to nothing. When I walked into this house and first saw this stair rail, I knew I had to change it. I think I could fit through there. It wasn't a code, it was very rickety, so we knew we needed a new one. For this handrail, I actually purchased new vintage boards. Meaning they're new, but they're made to look vintage. The most important part of this project is actually the dye that I used to paint these boards. I purchased dye in 3 or 4 different colors from the craft store to get that variation of shades, so it really looks like an actual vintage staircase. This is not very expensive. I mean, you could paint these boards for about $100 and add a really nice pop of color in your house. One of my favorite ways to update a staircase is to customize the risers. I decided to use stair riser decals. These are essentially stickers, and it's fairly inexpensive. I spent and paid at the same time. I paid about $250, and they're really easy to install. It would be really cool to put a mosaic tile on these risers. But this is a budget-conscious way to change the look of these stairs, make it custom, and this is one of a kind. When I first saw this windowsill in the kitchen, I knew I wanted to do something that utilized the natural light that was coming through. I had this idea that it'd be really fun to do a potted herb garden. Terracotta pots are a dime a dozen. I mean, they're really inexpensive. You can get them at any hardware store, any discount store, but the problem is they look the same. So if you paint them, it makes them look really different. For this color palette, I decided to use 3 to 4 different colors that started all the way at the richest color, which was the garage door, and go all the way up to the lightest color, which was like a pink. I decided to vary not only the colors of the pots, but the sizes of the pots. You could do all the same size, but I wanted to see the bigger pots in the background and the smaller pots in front, just so I could really see everything. Oh, that one's good. This is chocolate mint. Oh my gosh, this one's amazing. This entire project cost me about $100, and I think it's a really fun way to update this windowsill. Repurposing furniture is a great way to really customize a space. I mean, anybody can go out and buy a piece of new furniture, but if you repurpose something, it's gonna be one of a kind, it's usually less expensive, and it's just kind of fun. I bought this vintage game table at the antique swap meet. Problem with it is that it only has 3 legs. So I'm gonna take these legs off, and I'm gonna build a new base. I'm on my last leg. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm gonna cut my 2 cross braces that'll link together. How fun would it be to have this vintage table in a brand new house? When I see something that is worn and weathered, I instantly feel comfortable. We have a table. To get a custom coffee table for under $250, it's pretty cool. Whenever I'm adding organization or storage to a space, not only do I want it to be really functional, but I also think it should be art. This room could function a little bit better with like the addition of some storage and really like giving them a spot to kind of put all the stuff that you need. For this project, I chose pine boards. 1, because I know they'll take to fire really well, but 2, because they're really inexpensive. I don't need something that's crazy expensive. I mean, I'm just gonna burn them anyway. It's going to caramelize any of the sugars in the wood and bring out this kind of like rustic vintage look. Woo! Once these cool down, I'm gonna put a gray wash on them
so that they have kind of an old barn look almost.
This shelf is perfect because not only is it beautiful, but it's really functional.
It's just an inexpensive way to update plain, boring lumber.
Wallpaper is really expensive and you have to have somebody come in and usually like professionally install it. So sometimes I try to think of other ways to get that same look of wallpaper, but not with the high price tag.
I love the idea of doing like a watercolor technique on this wall, so it almost looks like, I don't know, like a wave is crashing or it's a cloud. This is the color that I want to use. The first step is to actually wet the wall. It should be shiny a little bit, but not like dripping. That'll get it all prepped to like receive the color. Yeah. And then we'll just be able to start adding color.
This is a pretty inexpensive mural, but it did take Kim and I a really long time to do it.
I'm gonna buy these for Brett. Be like, I got you new snowboard mitts.
What you're saving in price, you're probably sacrificing in time, but who doesn't have a little bit of extra time for a project?
The idea is to make this look kind of like a cloud or a wave. Where we want it to be darker, we'll add more layers, and then where we want it to be lighter, we'll just stick with this first coat.
Yeah. I knew this family needed a really beautiful wall in their office. She works from home and she takes video conference calls, so I needed something behind her that wasn't boring. I wanted to do something that was really custom with the colors that I was using in the house already. I took some tape, I taped off the wall, I made a fun pattern, and with a little bit of time and a very small paintbrush, I was able to get this really cool one-of-a-kind mural.
This is a project that, I mean, literally anyone could do this. It's just paint and tape and a wall.
This project cost about $300, which you can't even buy like 2 rolls of wallpaper for $300, let alone install it. So I'm really pleased with how it turned out, and I think I like it better than if I had put wallpaper up.